Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I am here to review Matthew Vaughn's The Kingsman. Now, this is the prequel to the Kingsman trilogy. I believe Mark Millar made Kingsman, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Either way, it's hard to believe almost 8 years ago, Kingsman came out. And Kingsman was such a badass movie. It was such a witty, it was such a creative, it was such a unique take on the James Bond-like gentleman spy movie. It had this edge to it. Samuel L. Jackson was a really fun old school Bond villain. And I think it's is it Taron Egerton? I can't remember. Is it Taron Egerton? I know it's not Joel Edgerton. I think Joel Edgerton's someone else. I think his name's Taron Egerton. Either way, Egerton that was the first time we saw him. He would go on to be in Rocket Man and other things like that. And that guy ended up being like a really damn great actor. And I remember this is his first appearance. And, you know, Ray Fiennes was in this movie. There was a lot. Mark Strong was in this movie. The OG Kingsman was such an awesome film. It's so unexpected. I remember walking out of the theaters watching that movie. We all remember the church scene. I mean, it completely changed the way I can't hear the song Freebird without thinking about a badass, ridiculous, over-the-top, violent church sequence. It was just so awesome. And like the action in Kingsman, it was just so cool like that. And that film was just so awesome. And you know, you just kind of you just kind of wait for what's next. And a lot of times, franchises have that first great film, and then all the other films kind of don't live up to that first film. Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle, I did not dislike. I liked it. I like Kingsman 2. But it's so pale in comparison, and it suffered from the sequel concept of we have to go bigger. We have to go bigger. And like, they were just trying to go so much bigger and so much more over the top, and they're trying to top the thing they did in the first thing that they kind of lost sight on, that you also have to do the character stuff. And there was character stuff in it, but it just got so big, so over the top, so ridiculous. They brought back characters who were dead, and it was nuts. It was nuts. And by the time it came to an end, you're just kind of like, this is an insane, over-the-top, this is almost a cartoon. Like, honestly, if this was animated and put on Adult Swim, it might have worked a lot, even more better. Let's just say that. So then we hear, but Matthew Vaughn, who is a great director, he's directed some really great films, including X-Men First Class and Apocalypse. I believe and Days of Future Past. I believe he directed Days of Future Past. But so Matthew Vaughn, he's not a stranger. The dude knows how to direct action. Honestly, it's the entire reason I went to go see The Kingsman, because I'm like, he knows how to direct action. Say what you want about plot things and all these other different things. He knows how to direct action. He knows how to make things look great, you know, and he knows how to do it in a different way. Like, he does action in this, like, bone-chillingly, it's not even like a bone-crunching. It's just visceral. Like, that's the best description of, Matthew Vaughn. Is it Matthew Vaughn? Yeah, I think it's Matthew Vaughn. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm saying the fucking right name. I think it's Matthew Vaughn. I think it's him. But he just directs action in such a visceral way. Yeah, Matthew Vaughn. Okay, I know what I'm talking about. He directs action in such a visceral way that's the whole reason I wanted to go see this film. Now, this movie, The Kingsman, is the prequel, the origin of the organization that apparently it started in World War II. Now, you kind of hear some stuff about the origin in the OG original Kingsman. You hear a little bit more about it in Kingsman 2, this Golden Circle. But you really get to see how it started. And it all started with this one guy named Orlando. Is it Orlando? It's Orlando Duke? Sorry, I'm just so bad with names. I'll have to make Oxford. Orlando Oxford, the Duke of Oxford, as he calls himself. And Orlando is this. He has a lot of weight in Britain. He's he's a duke. You know, he has a lot of sway. I mean, he's someone who is best friends with with one of the top ranking generals close to the king. The film takes place as a period piece. It takes place during it takes place during World War I. It takes place before World War I and during World War I. And it follows Orlando as he tries to Now, it's made abundantly clear that Orlando was a bad motherfucker at one point. At one point, Orlando was this bad motherfucker. You know, he was one of the baddest men walking the planet, and, you know, he fought in a war, but the blood and whatnot was just too much for him, so he really didn't want to be involved in it anymore. He wanted to take a step back and not get involved in things of that nature. And he had a wife and kid, and his wife dies up top at the beginning of the film, which really fucks him up, because through the entirety of the film, he and his son he is just terrified to let his son do anything. And like, they show him when he's younger, but they show him later on, his son's so heroic and so full of life, and his son wants to go fight for his country, he wants to go fight for what he believes in, and you know, his father ain't having that. For basically 90% of the film, his father is not gonna let him go. His father's like, I lost your mother, I'm not gonna let you go, you don't want to go through that, trust me. You think you want to fight in a war, you don't, trust me, you really don't. And like, this film, in a nutshell, is style with like the tiniest bit of substance. That substance come from, they are trying to say a message about, you know, how sometimes, you know, they talk about this a lot before, but how war can do that, how people can like propaganda up war, can make it seem like this huge, like this bigger than life thing, can make it seem like you're gonna be a hero and all this. They don't really promote the horrors that you will be dealing with when you join the military, especially, you know, one of certain branches, during actual wartime. It's like, no, you don't understand, man. Like, this is not gonna be what you think it's gonna be. Like, you know, it's like, you know, but you know, they like the idea that sometimes the military can get that propaganda engine moving and, you know, convince young men to go and die, and the young men don't know what they're getting into. They don't know what they're getting into because they're not educated about it. And there is a small little message about that, but it's kind of like, it's lost in the film because there's so much other craziness going on. You got a fucking Legion of Doom organization with like Rasputin and Lenin and all these other people who are of historical significance, who people might consider bad people. You got like it's fucking nuts. Like, you got this cartoonish, like, I mean, cartoonish version of Rasputin. Now, Rasputin was a weird motherfucking dude, but man, the way they play him in this film is just so over the top. It's so insane. It is so weird. Which is a lot of this film is just insane and weird. But the action, which there's not as much as I thought there was gonna be, when it's happening, it is dope. Like I say, Matthew Vaughn knows how to direct action, so the action sequences, when they're happening, are cool. But they don't happen as often as I would have liked, or as much as you would have think. And they spend so much time on this plot with the Duke and his son, and him not wanting his son to go fight in war, that considering how that storyline ends, it didn't feel like it was worth it. Or at least I was like, man, you guys should have came up with a different way to tell this story. I saw what you're trying to do. I'll give them that. There is an unexpected thing that happens in this film about near the tail end of it, like the last third of this movie, and it catches me off guard. It caught me the fuck off guard. I was like, whoa! Okay, but it wasn't like a whoa. Sometimes shit like that happens, like spoiler alert, in Spider-Man No Way Home, when a character dies and that, it's like, oh my gosh, but then you feel it and you know what they're doing and you're like, oh man, like, story-wise, this is fucking great, but it still hurts. This one, it was just like, whoa, okay, you just killed that character for, alright, I guess that happened. And it just kind of pushes forward after that. But you do see the origin, the quote-unquote origins of the Kingsman. You do see, you even kind of see the origins of the Statesman, which is the American version of the Kingsman. So, like, there's a couple things you do get a good look at. But, like, overall, by the time I left the movie, I was left with the meh feeling. I was left with the feeling of meh. I have some free time. I figured I can go see a movie, eat some popcorn, have fun with the action, but it wasn't as fun as I was hoping it was going to be. Like, even though I did not think that Kingsman, it's like, this is what it is. It's not as over the top as the Silver Circle, but it's not as good as the original Kingsman. At the Golden Circle, by Silver Circle. The Golden Circle, but it's not as good as the Kingsman. So what you're left with is a film that's just like, okay. Because even the Golden Circle, all the problems I have with that film, which there are a lot, I was entertained. I was entertained throughout the entire course of the film, no matter if it was utterly ridiculous, from goddamn Elton John screaming, Saturday, Saturday, while he's kicking somebody's ass. I mean, that was utterly ridiculous. It makes utterly no sense, but fuck it. I was entertained. There's nothing like that in this film. This film is not big enough to be over the top and just silly entertaining, and it's not good enough to be as good as the original Kingsman, which just leaves it at a 5. This film's a 5.5. It's a 6 at best. I was kind of disappointed. I really was hoping they were going to play with the period a little bit more, but they really didn't do too much with it. There's a lot of stuff going on in this film that's just like, that's kind of boring too. I don't know. In the end, I was like, I mean, I was here. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and have you seen The Kingsman? I mean, honestly, if you're a huge fan of both the Kingsman movies, then yeah, check it out. Check it out. If you love both the Kingsman movie, it's worth a watch. But if you're not a fan of the Kingsman movies, I wouldn't even bother. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.